Mr. Smith and his team of experienced principled career agents and prosecutors have followed the facts and the law wherever they lead.
Welcome back to America Decides. That was Attorney General Merrick Garland last week addressing Special Counsel Jack Smith's investigation into Donald Trump and the Capitol riot. While many Republicans have been very critical of Garland, so too have some Democrats. Congressman Brendan Boyle tweeted in part, quote, "Thank you, Speaker Pelosi, for creating the House January 6th committee. If it were up to just the weak and feckless Merrick Garland and Lisa Monaco, then today would have never happened." And Pennsylvania Democratic Congressman Brendan Boyle joins us now. Hi, Congressman. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. So obviously your criticisms of the Attorney General are very different from what Republicans are saying. But what do you think that Garland should have done differently?
Well, thanks for having me on. My comments are based on public reporting, including a bombshell investigation by the Washington Post that was published in June that revealed that Merrick Garland and Lisa Monaco explicitly opposed and would not authorize an investigation into the main ringleaders responsible for the attack on our Capitol on January 6th. And it wasn't until at least 15 months had gone by and the House of Representatives had uncovered a great amount of information through its select committee on January 6th. It wasn't until after that happened, some 15 months later, that finally Garland switched and relented and authorized the investigation that ultimately has culminated in these indictments. Now, since Jack Smith has been on the job, which has only been for about 9 or 10 months now, he has worked at remarkable speed. It was greatly helped by just the remarkable work of the January 6th House Select Committee. But frankly, if we don't get a resolution to these criminal cases before next November, we'll look back at that wasted 15 months as having been critical.
But on that, intervening time, I mean, you have public trust in the Department of Justice and the FBI is, historically low. We've seen all those numbers, and you can see the rhetoric. Do you think that they just had to let these investigations play out? I mean, the January 6th committee played out in public view.
So my point was that without the January 6th Select Committee, frankly, I don't think we are here. Garland opposed investigating at the DOJ, investigating Donald Trump, as well as the other ringleaders. I argue that would be like if in Watergate, it was only the actual burglars who were investigated and were prosecuted. Now, I am grateful, tremendously grateful for the work that the House Select Committee did on January 6th. It is because of the number of incriminating things they found that I think it was that ultimately that forced the hand of Merrick Garland to finally at last approve launching a criminal investigation into the former president.
And now, again, I know your criticisms are very, very different from Republicans. I mean, Republicans have called for Garland's impeachment. I'm curious what your response is to them.
Well, that is laughable. I mean, frankly, as the investigation by the Washington Post showed, and I believe others have reported, Garland absolutely did not want Donald Trump to be investigated. It was only when so many facts and so much evidence had come out, when so many, frankly, younger Republican staffers in the White House bravely stepped forward and gave their testimony about what exactly happened, that at that point, Garland could no longer ignore it. The reality is, though, that ultimately launching the criminal investigations into the ringleaders of January 6th, especially including Donald Trump, was the right decision. I'm glad that DOJ's top leadership finally arrived at what was the right decision. I just hope that 15-month delay won't prove to be critical as we try to get this done before the November election.
And speaking of that November election, I know you are a strong ally of President Biden. I know you and I have talked in Iowa when you were campaigning for him back 4 years ago. But your Democratic colleague, Dean Phillips, has been laying out a case for Biden to be challenged in the primary, saying that competition is good. He was on Face the Nation over the weekend, encouraging a primary challenge. What's your response to that? Is there any validity to that argument that the president should be challenged?
Well, first, Caitlin, as you remember and mentioned, that's right. I was out very early for Joe Biden back in 2019. I was out there in Iowa, including knocking on doors personally. I did a great job. Obviously, we finished fourth in Iowa. Did a little bit better toward the end of 2020 when we won my home state of Pennsylvania by a narrow margin, which of course is what ultimately put Joe Biden into the White House. Now, Dean is a colleague and a good friend. Where I disagree with him is the history of the last 40 years is not positive when we see an incumbent president challenged in a primary by an opponent within his own party. Just look at Jimmy Carter and Ted Kennedy in 1980, or Jerry Ford and Ronald Reagan in 1976, or George Herbert Walker Bush and Pat Buchanan in 1992. All three are examples of an incumbent president challenged with their own party, ultimately won the nomination, but went on to lose the general election to the nominee of the opposite party. I do not want to see that happen in 2024.
And it looks like it could be a very tight election. A poll just last week, New York Times Siena poll, showed Biden and Trump in a potential matchup neck and neck. I know we have a long way to go before then, and I'm sure we'll see you out on the campaign trail in that intervening time. But Congressman Brendan Boyle, thank you very much.
Thank you.